Happy Monday morning, 6:05 Eastern Standard Time, July 20th. Boy, we're flying through July. It's the hot months. People are looking for the fall, I think. It's been a little brutal. The humidity and the temperatures pretty extreme. The storms have been extreme. They have wreaked havoc in our area. Sometimes with the Wi-Fi, we're still, I think, working through some of that stuff in the afternoons. Um, we still not back where we should be, but we're working on it, and we've got other things in motion to help with that. It is time for our verse of the day, and we want to get that in. And see, there we go. It's already trying to give me some trouble. All right, there's your verse of the day coming up on screen. Should be. Hang on, maybe. There it goes. Isaiah 64:8. But, Lord, our Father, we are the clay, and thou art potter, and we are all the work of thy hand. Amen. He's got his hands on us for sure, without a doubt. He is molding us and shaping us every day, and we thank the Lord for it. Moving on to the National Day, National Moon Day today. I don't know why we need to celebrate National Moon Day, but if that's fun, maybe some people want to go to the moon one day. I do not. National Moon Day. A lot of talk about the moon. There are those who think on the dark side of the moon is all these things, crazy things. Well, I don't believe any of it, but everybody has their own beliefs, right? Everybody has their own beliefs. It's National Pennsylvania Day. Happy Pennsylvania. Hey, you know what? We like Pennsylvania. God bless Pennsylvania. I can dig that one. It's Lollipop Day. I'm not a huge fan, but I do at times. The little ones, not the big ones. I can't, who wants to have to deal with a lollipop all day? A little small one you put in your mouth. Every once in a while. I don't like to do that a lot. Bad for your teeth, I guess. But National Lollipop Day. You have fun. Get you one of them really big ones and enjoy your lollipop. It's National Fortune Cookie Day. I don't ascribe to what they say. It's just kind of fun. Some people take those numbers and gamble with them and all that. Not me, but hey, it works for you. It works for you. My today is National Get Out of the Doghouse Day. Hey, you know what? Everybody's been there. You're in the doghouse. You got to get out. So if you've been in the doghouse, today, maybe today you just say, you know what? I'm getting out of the doghouse today. Some birthdays today. Will Ferrell, 59 today. Oh, actually, that was the 16th. Hold on. I thought we did that one. Let me update that. How dare them do me like that? I thought, wait a minute, we did Will Ferrell's the other day. Okay, here we go. Chris Cornell. Oh, what a great artist. Soundgarden, Audio Slave. Such a sad thing. A number of artists have, had short lives, and you hate that. Alexander the Great. He was great for a long time. Then he ran out of worlds to conquer, I guess they say. Let's see here. Who else's birthday today that we want to celebrate? Let's see here. Sometimes I don't care for some of the ones. Judy Greer, actress. I'm familiar with her. Born this day in 1975. Josh Holloway from the series Lost was born this day in 1969. So there's another little plug-in right there. Maybe let's look see if we got any more here. I want to make sure that we have. There's a few. Like I say, I take and pick through. Julianne, what was her name? 37, well known. Natalie Wood. There's another one. Life ended way too short. Natalie Wood, born this day in 1938. Dean Winter, 61, TV actor today. I'm familiar with him. I think we'll end right there. That looks good. Carlos Santana. Let me not miss that. Carlos Santana, 78 years old today. It just seems like he's been playing forever. And he's still the same. Never changes. And, yeah, that's good. That's good. We'll stay with it. Happy birthday to you today, if it is your birthday. All right, we got birthdays. We got in the Bible verse, and we've got our national days in. So let's move to some news. Well, we know that the United States has been pounding Iran. I mean, they especially since sending prayers to the soldiers. It's just a sad thing. Somebody's family has to have that visit. I admire the work that the men do, and women if they are, who come to the homes. That's not an easy thing. But I hate that they had to do. And we know in just normal operations, you know, normal whatever things can happen. But now with war, and we're at war. This is not a conflict. This is a full-on war right now. There might not be a declaration, but we're at war, and we're lighting them up. We're going to cover a lot about that in the time we have this morning. Some various things about, along with a little bit of other news. 9 straight days, they've been hitting them. You may have seen some of the images that have been occurring. There has been drone activity from Iran and there's also a third service member who has been slain in Iraq to a drone. Kuwait is now complaining against Iran, and none of these countries are taking up for Iran. None of them. Russia, I think Russia is only one. The Arab countries, none of the Middle Eastern countries are taking up for them. They're sick of them. They're enjoying. They're eating the popcorn right now, hoping that this thing gets finished off because they can't deal with them. They're the bully on the block. Anyway, whether you like it or whether you don't, people don't want us there. Democrats are raging right now because we're over there. We can't pull back now. There's just not going to happen. We've got it. We're in now till regime change. I really do think this might even include ground troops. I'm sure special forces will be involved. It's going to happen. And I'm going to look at an article real quick by Victor David Hansen. We're going to look at what he has to say about this. And there is a limited time, and Iran's counting on that. That's the only thing they got, because they got nothing else. I mean, they got, like I said, they're being destroyed every day. Their military, their structure for that. They can, as I said, they've got a few missiles. They've got some drones. There's some things they can, not much. They're losing the ability quickly. And so, people are growing restless inside the country. And I just think it's going to happen. There was a worldwide caution for Americans wherever you are if you're traveling abroad. You'll have to just watch out, because you never know. So prayers for the families and be safe if you're traveling. The Energy Secretary said traffic will flow through Hormuz. The president says it's for business. They do not control it. They cannot close it. They can't do anything about it. But they can get lucky with a strike of a drone or something. So that's going to continue to be the thing until they just clamp that down so much that it's so nobody cares anymore. The United States continued to assure flow of traffic through the Strait. Energy Secretary Chris Wright told ABC this week. On Sunday, the U.S. military struck Iran. That was for the 8th day in a row. President Trump is always looking for the diplomatic off-ramp, and he wants to end with peaceful agreement with Iran. But it takes 2 parties to do that. Wright said if they're ready to do that, that's the way it will end. If not, we will continue to assure flow of traffic through the Strait without Iran's cooperation. The Energy Secretary insisted that the U.S. is currently assuring that oil and gas and other products can flow through the Strait of Hormuz with or without Iranian cooperation. We've continued to degrade their offensive military capabilities. There's another thing at play here, too. The energy in Europe and Asia, supply is getting very low. It's going to start hitting there first. It's already hitting there. That's going to cause a lot of problems. It will eventually cause problems here. It'll take a while, but it'll start impacting us more and more here. So we do need to hammer this. A lot of people, it's different kinds of oil. Different kinds of oil brought out of the ground. So it does impact. When pressed about comments Wright made in March predicting that the Iran war would end in a few weeks or sooner than that, he said we needed 4 to 6 weeks for military. They went for 5.5 weeks. We did a pause to try to get an agreement with the Iranians to allow oil to flow without them attacking it. They've proven unwilling to do that, and we've pivoted. He also insisted that it is absolutely not true that the traffic through the strait is effectively stopped over the past few days. I get the data on that every day. Right said the 7-day trailing average now is just under 7 million barrels a day flowing through the waterway, and just under 7 million barrels a day additional flow through bypass pipelines. And there's many nations over there working on pipelines. They're not going to let this affect them again. They're working on other means to help support that. It'll take a little while to get all that in line. This is going to change the way business is done in the Middle East for sure, but there will still be much coming through the strait. He said, so we're a little under 14 million barrels a day from the Arabian Gulf region. That's 2/3 pre-conflict traffic, dramatically up from where we were back in March. Last on the show, he said. So we do see that there is flow. They said they stopped it, and everybody jumped on that. It's never been, except there for a short time, was it? And there were still some ships that were secretly taken through. Kuwait condemns the Iranian attack on their power and water. They've been hitting their desalination plants. That's how they get most of their water. So they're trying to hurt them. I mean, these countries are sick of them. Marco Rubio is meeting with Lebanon's president. Israel is getting a lot of additional increase. In fact, we're beginning to take over their airport. I mean, there's 30 refueling planes there now. More's on the way. More fighter jets. The Ben Gurion is going to look like, or wherever they got them at, I'm assuming Ben Gurion, it's going to be looking like an American military base. There's going to be so many planes sitting there ready to go. And if you say why there, well, a lot of countries don't want us to use their bases and everything, especially what's going on. Israel's concerned about, they did become a target in this, even though they're not doing anything right now, but they're always a target. I wouldn't worry about that. And we got great relationships with them. President Trump is pushing for the Iran sanctions to resemble those of Russia, the same kind of sanctions, in a tribute to late Senator Lindsey Graham, who said that Lindsey would have wanted that. He is also pushing for his sister to run full time for that seat. You know, she's been placed in there to finish the term. He's pushing for her to run for it. There's a lot of people announcing. They're starting to announce run for that. Representative Norman is one of those that just announced. J.D. Vance, him and his wife, welcomed the birth of their fourth child. Congratulations to them. Just seems like just yesterday we were talking about knowing that. So that would happen pretty quickly. Time goes on. The president is lauding the price cut at grocery chain Giant Eagle for slashing prices on more than 300 products through Labor Day, called on other supermarkets to follow suit as his administration pushes lower costs for American families. In a Truth Social post, the president said, Trump said, Giant Eagle, like Walmart, is stepping up in a big and bold way by answering his call to reduce prices. He pointed to what we said were declining prices for oil, gasoline, eggs, and prescription drugs, while blaming inflation on the Biden administration. Other grocery chains must immediately follow the lead of these absolute patriots at Giant Eagle and Walmart. Together, we'll make America stronger and more affordable than ever before. And they announced a, quote, on sale this season, end quote, initiative that took effect July 9th and runs through Labor Day. So I don't know that I even have one of those in my town, but I'm glad they did it for whatever reason. You know, that you save a little bit. I mean, every little bit helps, right? You know, so I get that. You know, the gas prices, I mean, it affects us all, the deliveries, everything else. Robert Papp said, no doubt Trump underestimated Iran. And a lot of people talked about that. You know, I told you, I never felt like we're going to back down. You can't trust them. And they knew what they were doing, this radical regime. And of course, Robert Papp is the political scientist, University of Chicago. He said that, warning the United States is now knocking on the door of stage 3 after 2 U.S. service members were killed in Jordan. Well, we're there, but it's going to happen. Absolutely going to happen. Quote, we need to give honest answers to direct questions like this. The bottom line is there's absolutely no doubt President Trump underestimated Iran. Um, I, I think that there was, once it started, I don't think it was better if he had underestimated or overestimated. It was going to happen. He's the author of The Escalation Trap. He said Trump initially expected military operations launched on February 28th to last only a matter of days, did not foresee the broader regional escalation that followed. We are still continuing to underestimate, in my opinion. We're having a very hard time, as countries do, seeing the nationalist fighters on the other side of the battlefield. And those are burning quite bright now in Iran. Yeah, there are a lot of them are burning. I get what you're saying, bud, but you know what? The, um, it there's a lot of damage being done. He also warned the conflict is approaching a new phase. We are knocking on the door of stage 3. In fact, we've never been closer to stage 3. Well, U.S. forces have not yet begun ground operations to seize territory. He said Marines are already conducting operations in the region, including seizing ships. We have not crossed over into stage 3 ground operations yet. Since we haven't crossed over, there's some chance of pulling back. I don't think there's any question we're going to see ground troops in certain areas of the country, not the totality, but I see that happening. I can actually see Iran being split. I think there's I think we have people working with behind the scenes, and I could see this country being split right now and then dealing with the rest. I could see it. But there's a lot of things that could happen here. He was asked about Iran's increasingly hostile rhetoric, including threats against Americans, and said Tehran have shifted from seeking survival to pursuing revenge. Iran has moved from survival to ambition for power to revenge. The revenge motive is incredibly powerful for Iran. He warned that Iran's ties to terrorist organizations raise the possibility of additional attacks, hence the warning to Americans abroad. Absolutely, we need to be careful with that. That goes without saying. I mean, we're always targets, more so now. But I'm going to tell you, and yeah, some of these terrorist organizations, many of them get their funding from Iran. But I'm going to tell you, they don't want to get lit up either. You know, they might be radical, they might be terrorists, but they're not as radical as terrorist as Iran is. They don't have the resources to. They'll be more, shooting of an American at a train, or it'll be stuff like that. But as far as waging a battle against us, that's not going to happen. We just need to be careful for civilians. There's a lot of civilians work overseas. They would have to be very careful because they would definitely see that as an opportunity to target civilians. He praised the U.S. servicemen from the region, saying our troops have been nothing but magnificent all the way, though facing all this danger on the front lines of it, and offered his condolences to the troops killed this week. I admire listening and hearing his wisdom about this. I don't disagree with what he said. I do think the president thought this would be a quicker operation. I never said that it would be. Because they would just, the two main things, if they just left the strait alone, I never thought that without ground troops that ever would be able to get the nuclear part. I didn't think that was going to happen. But with the loss of so much, I figured, well, again, it's a new war. It's a new day around the world. The drone wars, and before long, there's going to be all these, other things that's been created. But we're seeing that in Ukraine and Russia. It's the missile drone war, and that's what Iran has moved to. They make them a lot by the thousands. We need to just reduce their ability to make them. And now, not to switch over there much, but Kyiv did come under a massive incoming of missiles and drones. They overcome the Patriot batteries and stuff that are there. But pardon me. But there's also a lot of intel helping Ukraine, and they're hitting deeper into Russia, and it's causing Russians to get angry at what's going on. They're hitting their infrastructure, and there's a lot of they're having their own supply issues in Russia. But that's what Iran effectively has. They don't have a navy. They've got little speedboats they can run out there and do some throw some charges at something or plant mines or whatever. But they're losing those quickly too. The drones are effective, but the more we hit them, the harder it's going to be for them to be effective with them. And we're blowing up any kind of thing that they use for radar or anything else. So yeah, they do have things buried deep within, but at some point you just stay beneath. You can't come out, not very much. And so, but I do admire his looking into this. And yes, the president has been brought into a deeper thing. This is America 250. I said he wanted, to show the might of America, the greatness of America, the American military, and we're doing that. And you know, again, people don't. I'm not saying it from a position of should we be there or not. What I said, what I've said was, is if we're going to be there, let's do it right. And now that American blood has spilled, yes, it's absolutely imperative we do not pull back until we have accomplished some mission goals there. Let's see here. Jordan denied that the airport and seaport were evacuated. That was kind of in opposition to some information that had been released about, the dangers that were going on in the region. They disputed that and said that didn't happen. So I'm not sure, how much we can, um, you know, say that really happened or did not happen. But that was part of the communication that came out that they were doing that. They said that um, U.S. Embassy said that there was a credible threat there. Jordanian authorities have not issued any decision, have not on Sunday to evacuate the airport or seaport, and have not detected any potential threats in the past hours. They're saying the U.S. Embassy in Amman said earlier the port and international airport in Aqaba were evacuated because of specific credible threat. And again, some of the stuff's going to flow back and forth. They don't want to look weak. Um, I'm sure they were hearing things on the ground. They're there. They probably picked up some communication, and they probably don't, want that to get out like that. But the Jordanians, who, for all intents and purposes, pretty loyal to working with America and Israel. They're the more moderate of most of the countries there. They've kicked terrorists out of their country before. They kicked the PLO out, and they kicked them all out. They said, "You're not living here." So absolutely. Well, shout out to Spain, who obviously won the World Cup over Argentina. I'm sure heartbreak across the country there. Messi in tears. 1-0 victory. The president gave the trophy. So Messi's career may be it for him. But what a great career, legendary. Um, so anyway, shout out to Spain. I know a lot of now we'll wait a few years and before it happens again. But a lot of people from across the world came to America and saw. I saw a video where the some people trying to get to the game were crossing New Jersey highways and whatever that was. They didn't. I guess they just thought you could cross the roads. All them New Jersey drivers were bearing down on them, so it's kind of funny. Hey, we've all been there. You get parked in the, you don't really know there. I mean, face it, they don't. I mean, you get you come in the wrong way, you park in the wrong place, whatever. It doesn't work the way you thought. And you're like, well, we'll just cross here. So maybe they didn't get a ticket or anything. Another one I want to mention before we go back, I want to get to this article in the Epic Times with Victor Davis Hanson. I loved listening to him, what he had to say about this. There's a timeline here. The FDA said that the Taylor Farms finding of they're trying to track down what made people sick. They're saying that finding was a false positive. So the Taylor Farms investigation, as they were looking at the outbreak of the Cyclospora parasite, it concluded the finding should be considered a false positive. Everybody's business is on the line here. I mean, I know when we rode by Taco Bell, I didn't see them. It looked like they were still busy, but it has to be impacting business, you would think. And of course, whoever they trace this back to, it's going to be very damaging to them. We want good, safe things, but you don't want to be told that it was you when it was not. The FDA said on Saturday that a sample of shredded iceberg lettuce supplied by the Taylor Farms tested positive for the parasite illness that sickened thousands of people in the U.S. However, the latest update said that it notified Taylor Farms and continues working with the firm to ensure product implicated in this outbreak has been removed from the market. But that was a false positive. They said the earlier confirmed that the product was not part of its current recall. Taylor Farms is not immediately available for comment. It has been linked to shredded iceberg lettuce served at Yum Brands Taco Bell restaurants in Indiana, Kentucky, Michigan, Ohio, and West Virginia. has so far resulted in 100 hospitalizations, no deaths, thank goodness, according to the CDC. The lettuce, which the FDA said on Thursday came from Mexico, was produced as 5-pound bags at Taylor Farms facility in Guanajuato, Mexico. May have said that wrong. They're trying to trace this bag wherever they got it. They got to find out where they got it. But the lettuce was obviously, it had feces on it. Something clean properly. This is a problem we have with produce and things that come into the country. They look for a cheaper deal, they make deals, they bring that in. That's why you always, again, we can't help that. We're not in control of the preparation for that at these restaurants. Whenever you bring something home, you're always told to wash, whatever that is, fruits and vegetables and whatever, you're always to wash that off, or if it's something you're cooking, make sure it's cooked really good, because you just never know. And I feel for these people. Nobody would want exploding diarrhea. Nobody. I can't imagine anybody would say, it wasn't that big a deal. I can't imagine that. I think it's a real big deal, and I can't imagine what they're going through. For people that's had food poisoning or whatever, it's just something you never want to deal with. Nobody would. Or Montezuma's revenge, if you cross over the country, and maybe they can eat it, you can't. That kind of thing. I like Victor Davis Hanson. He has an article said that Trump has just weeks left to finish the Iran conflict. Pick up a few thoughts from him. We're approaching 140 days since we first attacked Iran on February 28th of this year. We only really had this a war, but it's basically 40 actual bombing, tit for tat, followed by 100 days of negotiations, interspliced with some tit for tat exchanges of missiles and drones. But for the most part, we have negotiated. Now we know the strategy of both sides. The strategy of our president was he wanted to stay in power, meaning he wanted to have control of Congress. Otherwise, his initiatives and agenda will be ossified if the Democrats take over the House. They will impeach him if they take over the House, and he's protected against conviction by running the Senate. But if he should lose the House or Senate, in other words, if things would blow up, we would be in deep trouble. So his point was always to make sure that Iran did not have the ability to produce a nuclear weapon, that did not have the ability to launch missiles all over the Gulf, and did not have the ability to close the Strait of Hormuz. But the negotiations interrupted that cycle, in which Iran also had a strategy, and we knew they were delaying. Everybody said they were delaying. Don't take the foot off the gas kind of thing. They were delaying. They understand countries around the world understand American politics even more than we do. They know you only have a limited time to get things done, and that anything they can do to make it look really bad is going to put pressure on you. Their strategy was this. If we can drag this conflict out and punctuate it with missile launches and ride out the retaliations, which would be proportional or symmetric, we can run the clock all the way to the midterms, which is a key for the president, absolutely. If we do, the Democrats will take over the House of Representatives, and maybe they will not allot money to continue Trump's war. And more importantly, maybe this will be the part of a new government in 2028, and we'll be home free we'll be as home free as we were with Joe Biden and Barack Obama. So that was their strategy. Drag it out, drag it out. That's what Victor Davis Hanson has to say in his article. Who won? Well, we'll see about that denouncement. But for now, Iran has been able to survive because we stopped full-scale fighting almost 100 days ago. And these tit-for-tats have been ineffectual in the sense that they have not stopped the missile barrages to the Gulf states, and they have not given us control of the Strait of Hormuz, and we do not have control of the enriched uranium. So where are we now? We still have the same pressures on Donald Trump. We've got less than 4 months now until the midterms, but the economic news has been surprisingly good. Inflation at a per month rate is at a historic low almost, and unemployment is about 4.2. GDP is strong at 2.3, 2.4. The stock market is high. The full effect of tax cuts and greater energy production and deregulation are starting to be felt, along with foreign investment. So Trump thinks that along with the redistricting and the Supreme Court ruling on gerrymandering, he might have a chance to upset the historical reality that 39 of the last 41 midterms have gone to the out party. That's an amazing stat. I didn't realize that. 39 of the last 41 midterms have gone to the out party. That means to the Democrats in this case, because we're in, or Republicans are in. I do vote Republican. So he still thinks he has a chance, and he still wants to conclude operations and go home, and the Iranians know that. So where are we now? I think we can see what he's doing. The last 4 days, he's had very, very strong strikes. Some of his critics have said on the right, well, you're hitting all these dock works and these small mosquito fleets and the fuel for missiles. Why didn't we do that earlier? Well, we didn't do it earlier because we were negotiating. We were measured and proportionate. And to deal with the Iranians now, you have to be unmeasured and disproportionate. I think they've seen that for the last 9 days. So what are we seeing now is a full-scale effort to destroy all their military abilities. And that would mean going to the factories, the industrial complex that makes these missiles. Find where their launchers are, find where their drone fields, clear the corridor near the strait of all their anti-aircraft ability, their missiles, their drones, and their small fleet of vegetable boats that they use to mine the strait and attack tankers. Clear it out. Do this for a week or 2 weeks and then stop and see if they want to concede. If they do not want to concede, then I think you would have another week of dual use targeting. And that would mean they are going to bring in the B-2s and hit Pickaxe Mountain, and that's been talked about. And all this is in place, and all more resources are headed to the region. Seal the areas under suspicion of harboring enriched uranium, hit the bridges, hit some of the power grid, then go home and say to our allies, Iran now is mostly inert. They have no air force. You in the Gulf have 600 combat frontline aircraft. You have missiles. You have missile defense. You can defend yourself from an inert Iran. You Europeans, Japanese, South Koreans, Taiwanese, all you want to use the strait, we don't. But we've cleaned it out now, and all you have to do is send a couple of vessels each. And under our leadership, we always have forces in the Persian Gulf. We have frigates. We have a carrier that rotates in and out. We will help you organize the ability and the willpower to keep the strait open. These are great thoughts. And kind of what I said, I mean, we're always there, but these countries need to step up. And it's not going to be difficult because Iran has suffered enormous damage, and that would be in 2 or 3 weeks. In other words, it's from Victor Davis Hanson once again. In other words, that he could pivot and say that Iran is now militarily and nuclearly inert, and we are back home, and our allies are taking part of the burden, and they're keeping the strait open. That's one final wild card. Notice something very unusual. Iran boasts almost every day that it is hitting Oman, the UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Kuwait. The Houthis have even sent missiles into Saudi Arabia. These are Muslim nations. As I've said, there's a new dynamic in the Middle East. There's a new day. None of those nations are complaining about Israel. It's just Iran, and in fact, have not, even when Israel was bombing, there's not been much said by those nations. Even southern Lebanon, it's a new day. There's a new thinking, it's just changed. These are Muslim nations fighting a Muslim nation. Iran fighting with fellow Muslim nations. A Persian Muslim country fighting Arab Muslim countries. What is Iran not doing? It's not attacking Israel. Why isn't it attacking Israel? Because they know, in addition to the American effort, if they were to attack Israel has rested for the last 4.5 months. They've restocked their munitions. They've got superior intelligence. They've infiltrated into the Iranian Revolutionary Islamic Guard Corps. They've infiltrated into the military. I have no doubt about it. Some of the best, operations covert you could ever have is from Israel. Whether you like them or not, some people hate them. I'm telling you, they're the best of the best in that area. They know where these people live. They do, and they have long memories, and they'll hunt you down. They know where they work. They know how they travel. And they've been warned that if they hit Israel, they're going to go after the 4th, 5th, and 6th tier leadership, and they're providing intelligence to the Americans. So for now, it seems unbelievable that the Iranians would rather attack other Muslim countries across the Gulf and tangle with their supposed little Satan, their existential enemy, Israel. Why? Because Israel has obtained overwhelming deterrence. We're almost done here. And they're almost done with the article. And they're afraid that if Israel gets in the fray along with the United States, that they will suffer inordinately and may not recover. So just to recap, Donald Trump has a week to 2 weeks at the most to hit all the targets that are military left and see if they want to concede. If they don't, they then hit the dual-use targets. And then I think he's going to plan to go home and concentrate on the economy and outsource the problem of the strait with one final caveat. If we find out that they still have a nuclear program in existence, we can do what we did last July. You can send in B-2 bombers and hit those facilities below the earth. And it's been proven that the Iranian air defenses are pretty anemic when confronted with Western technology that both we and Israel possess. I think it's a very well written article. It makes a lot of sense to me. And if you watch what's been going on in the region, it is changing. And I said it's a new day. There are no Arab countries except for the Yemen or the Houthis. You know, the Houthis like to raise their head up a little bit, but they're not saying a word. They didn't say a word about Israel when they pounded them before. It was very minimal. I mean, you didn't hear anything. It's pretty doggone amazing. I mean, I just think that people don't realize this is not your typical Middle East anymore. Wars are not being fought like they were anymore. I mean, it's changed, and I don't think it's ever going to go back to what it was before. It's always going to have its dicey, walk on eggshells kind of thing. I mean, but here's the thing that proves what he's saying is true. Um, these people love to stir up the populace. We've seen no mass demonstrations. We've seen no, CNN and all them. They just love to get those scenes of people burning the American flag, burning the Jewish flag. Uprised in Israel. We're not seeing any of that. I'm not saying it won't happen. We've not seen it. We've not seen it. We've seen it in Iran by the radicals. They're doing it, but you really don't see anything across. I mean, these countries, and outside of a few hits, they've not caused that much damage. I mean, the hit to the desalination plant in Kuwait, that would be big. There's been a couple of others. But I believe that these countries are about to the point where we can take over now. You've knocked the bully down to his knees. You've chopped his legs off. And we'll hit them from here if we need to. They'd be glad to see the Americans leave, but I think they're more than happy right now. Like I said, they got the popcorn. They're sitting back and they're watching and they're saying, load them up, because this has been the bully in the region and nobody's wanted to mess with them. And everybody said, it was a huge mistake and we'll, suffer. And yeah, we're going to lose some people. I mean, it's just operations are going to cause that. But relatively, I mean, very little so far. And they're taking a pounding right now, 9 straight days. And if they do go to the second round and start hitting power plants and stuff like that, and I really do think there's a possibility the country could be split. I think there are portions of that country that are already weakened to the point that the RGC does not have as much control there. I think this is where some of the messaging was coming out. Some of these other leaders, they got to be careful because, you could be, they could come after you. But if they had the ability to take over parts of their nation, and it's kind of like Syria. I mean, Syria started where, at first it was ISIS and all this. Look, Syria is about to be taken off of this sanction list and stuff. I mean, it really did lead, ultimately, it led to the kicking out of Bashar Assad, the butcher. And for all intents and purposes, even though these are still a terror group kind of thing, I mean, they have taken over their country, and right now things are decent good. You don't hear anything from Syria. There's been no problems on the Golan Heights or anything. I mean, right now it's pretty peaceful right now. And so again, where you don't hear major voices, you do not hear it. Other countries are getting involved to come to their defense. Russia's made some threats, but they're always doing that. They got their own problems with Ukraine, and I believe because of this operation, I believe they gave Ukraine a little extra oomph in their ability to strike precision strikes, and that's kept Russia occupied. They don't have time to worry with Iran too much. They're trying to worry about bridges and ships being sunk, hits to their energy infrastructure. They're having to buy some energy on the open market. I mean, their economy's in the tank. The people are getting frustrated. So it's heated up there. And so they've stepped up operations there. They don't have too much time to worry with Iran. They can make the announcement or two, but it's just a new day. It's really interesting to watch if you've been alive long enough to watch all this. Never seen it like this. Not in my lifetime. It's a very different Middle East right now. And like I said, Iran became that pariah in the area, but now they've been knocked down to size to a great degree, and they just don't pose the threat to their neighbors that they used to. If you take all those countries and put them together, they're more than able to handle the issue. And occasionally, if we need to come in and clamp something down, as he said, We can send in the carrier group. We're always in the region. We can always get in there quickly and do some damage if we need to. But I think that is very well thought out. And because he's got, I mean, the midterms are approaching. There are some good things going on if he can wrap this up pretty quickly. And he's riding a wave right now. I mean, yeah, the Democrats had him, but and you know, with Lindsey Graham, I mean, I think he's cashing in some checks there on that one a little bit. I think he's done pretty well. They could still do badly in the midterm. They could still. But here's the thing: the Democrats are putting forth such cruddy candidates. It's even hard for the Democrats to get behind. There's some areas where they've done well in some states, but in other areas they're absolutely tanking. The people are sick of it. And these candidates, they get more radical the more that come out, and they put forth someone and they just total collapse because they're low character people, and that's what they're pushing out. And this latest one, I know they're getting a lot of talk. This latest one that came out the other day was absolutely, I don't think they ever had a chance to win, but that's a candidate that is rolling out. If you saw that, you know what I mean. Unbelievable. I've never seen that like that. I mean, we had differences as parties. Never seen the type of candidates that's being rolled out in a lot of places. So anyway, it's much to watch on that. But I do think that is a very well thought out. If you don't follow Victor Davis Hanson, you should. Doesn't mean he's always right, but I think he's very well spoken, and he usually has a handle on it pretty well. Let's see here. July 20th, today also marks the 27th anniversary of the Chinese regime's persecution of the Falun Gong. There's a lot of parades and stuff planned. Parades were, still being held, calling for the end of the communism and, the persecution of Falun Gong in China. Hundreds of them gathered for a parade in New York, in Manhattan, Chinatown, on the 19th, yesterday, to raise awareness about the persecution of the spiritual practice in China. And again, it doesn't matter if you're a follower or like that or whatever. This is, they just, they go after anybody that doesn't think communist think or thought and speak. So they come out, and it's amazing it's been that long. I didn't realize it had been that long. It's just funny how fast time goes by. Many shopkeepers came to their doors to observe the parade passing along their street, accompanied by gentle meditative music. Lisa Liu, a parade participant, was one of the group of people who marched in the parade, and at the same time, I demonstrated the Falun Gong exercises. Holding the event in Chinatown, a conclave for people of her ethnicity, is a chance to demonstrate her faith and counteract the malign propaganda from the Chinese regime, she said. The Chinese government has really influenced the minds of all these Chinese people all over the world, parade participant Jake Zoko said in the interview, echoing Liu. He and others were there to show that the practice is welcome around the world. Only countries under the control or sway of CCP prevent people from practicing the peaceful discipline. So anyway, you're free in America to do those things, as long as they are not, things that are trying to tear down the country. I mean, that's the thing we're battling now. But but their principles are truth, compassion, and tolerance. It matters to everyone in the whole world. That's the three tenets of their practice. So the fact that that's being persecuted really affects the whole world. On July 20th, 1999, Falun Gong practitioners were arrested en masse in the beginning of a campaign that has resulted in untold numbers of prisoners of conscience being tortured, brainwashed, and even killed for their organs. That's a whole nother thing that's going on in China. In March and April of 26, Mingu.org, which collects evidence of the persecution directly from practitioners in China, received reports of 787 Falun Gong practitioners being arrested and harassed for their faith. There were reports of 124 practitioners persecuted to death in China in 2025, while another 4,803 were arrested or harassed in 25. So for them, every aspect of their lives has been affected, from medical studies to landing a job to dealing with misunderstandings within their own family, because of extensive CCP propaganda. So anyway, if you don't subscribe to Epic Times, you should. They have a lot of wonderful reporting. Let's see here. Anything else? A little article about. Oh, sorry, forgotten U.S. territory where Chinese birth tourism thrives. There's one place in America where Chinese nationals can enter without a visa. It's the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, CNM. It's territory of the Pacific, right by Guam, and it has become a major security loophole for Chinese communist influence operations, as well as Chinese organized crime and birth tourism ventures, according to Claude Pascal, senior fellow at the Compass Institute. Yet there has been little political will in Washington to close this loophole. Every U.S. president who served in the Pacific Theater of World War II understood that the security of the American people mainland depends on the secure Pacific perimeter. As such, in addition to two U.S. territories in the region, the United States has maintained compacts of free association with Palau, the Federation States of Micronesia, and the Marshall Islands since the end of World War II. These treaties give the U.S. military exclusive defense, and strategic access to these countries for U.S. security guarantees and economic support. But the Chinese Communist Party has sought to aggressively expand its influence in these islands through pressure. And they've been working through Central and South America a lot too. People never pay attention. That's why one of the reasons why the Venezuela thing was so important. They've been taking over the maintenance and operations of many dock operations throughout Central and South America that would cut us off. Their influence there is spreading. They even have libraries going up for their propaganda all throughout. And they know they need money, so they're pouring money into there to, get these deals. U.S. funding for these compacts nearly lapsed in recent years because many in Washington apparently have forgotten their importance. So anyway, there's a show you can listen to there, but I think that's I've heard that mentioned before about these loopholes, and so that means they can come there and get citizenship and come in. So it's something we better watch out for in America. So anyway, a little shout out there from news, sports, weather's hot. Don't have to say much there. Watch out for storms. And remember, Wolf Report will be at noon Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you tonight. Hopefully it can go live. We've been having problems in the evening. We're still trying to work on a couple things. We are scheduled to have 2 interviews tonight. One tomorrow night. We missed last week with race car drivers. And looking forward. I've got some video. We got pictures. We appreciate them coming on. And the Chaser, Sir Chaser, will be in the house. We're doing a lot of things. We've been moving some things around. We haven't pulled out the new equipment yet. We are live on Roku, and I'm working on getting the video on demand videos set up so you can see those. There's a few of them there, but I've got to get more things loaded in. And the app is great. Go to Roku and download Wolf Nation Network. New equipment will be going in. We've got new signage that'll be behind me. That'll be sitting behind me on the floor. I've got to get it up. I see boxes behind me. That's part of the new equipment. And hopefully will happen this week. We want to get some of the moving around we were doing that you can't see right now on the screen. Get that done. We're still working on that. Pray for Biscuit Boy as he's traveling these next week or two, getting a much needed break and having fun with the grandkids. So he's been sending pictures. Probably come back with a lot of pictures, video, and he'll be wide open talking about all that. And we'll see you this evening, Lord willing. Let's pray for America. Pray for our service members, especially those families who have suffered loss. Our nation grieves with you. There's no words that can be said. Just know that your nation appreciates their defense of freedom and serving their country. And we pray for you, and know that it's making a difference. And we're very sorry as a nation. Let's pray for those folks today. I can't imagine seeing the military men and women coming up the sidewalk or the steps or whatever to let them know. And by now, I'm sure that they would have been told that. We haven't seen names yet. That should come in the next day or so. We'll properly recognize them and honor them for their sacrifice that they have given to our nation. And I don't hear any. There'll be people say, "Oh, they died for nothing." No, they were doing their duty for the United States of America and serving around the world. That comes with danger, and they were killed in the conflict, and we need to recognize them and their families. And I'm sure there'll be a lot in that way. You can't replace a child, no. And many people that have been through that, through previous wars or just things that happen, training exercises, whatever. Planes go down, helicopters go down, grenades blow up. Sometimes they're not supposed to. But people that have lost loved ones like that, they understand. And I know there's a lot of resources and stuff to reach out, but it's gonna be tough. And but we do have. I know that God's grace is sufficient. I do know that. And let's pray for them in the name of Jesus today. And we'll see you at noon and this evening. And we appreciate you so very much. God bless. See you next time. Cornbread.
Wake me up before the night swallows. Somebody get me some coffee. It's the Cornbread Man Morning Show on your radio. It's the Cornbread Man Morning Show. It's the Cornbread Man Morning Show on your radio. It's the Cornbread Man Morning Show. Eyes wide shut, hand me a pair of shades. The sun won't show me no mercy. I know you feel me. It's the Cornbread Man Morning Show on your radio. It's the Cornbread Man Morning Show. It's the Cornbread Man Morning Show on your radio. It's the Cornbread Man Morning Show. Why does it hurt so much when the day breaks? Why does it hurt so much when the day breaks? It's the Cornbread Man Morning Show.